Good evening. I'm going to call the Tuesday, September 5th, 2023, 5:17 time certain public hearing to adopt the 2023-2024 final millage rate and budget. At this time, I would ask everybody please rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, please be seated. Roll call.
Christy Chong.
Will Furry, present.
Sally Hunt.
Colleen Conklin, present.
Cheryl Macero.
LaShaka Moore.
All right, do we have any special announcements? Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to the summary budget presentation, 2.01 summary, final millage and budget presentation. Ms. Womack.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent Moore. Today I am here to present the final trim and budget, and we're going to start with the summary budget. This is the exact same thing that we went over in the public hearing for the tentative millage. We went over it in much more detail during that meeting. That is online for the public to view at any time, and that again was 5:15 on August 1st, 2023. So I'm going to move through this relatively quickly. If we could just go ahead and go to page 2. This is a summary of our general fund. At the top is our federal, state, and local revenues. About 45% comes from our FEFP, and about the same comes from our local property taxes. As you can see, we are planning to end with a fund balance of $6.3 million. Our general fund is our general operating fund. This funds all of the overhead, teachers, support, salaries, and benefits, and everything that goes into our classrooms. The second page is special revenue funds. These are all of our federal grants. The first column is food service, which is run by Mrs. Bush, and that is just all of the operations of our school food service program. The second column is the federal grants. These are our normal grants that we get every single year, the Title I, IDEA, Title II, Perkins, things like that. And the third column is the federal stabilization. These are our ESSER grants that started after the pandemic. On the next slide, this is a breakdown of our general fund cost. As you can see, our salary and benefits make up 83%. It is the bulk part of this budget. And next is purchase services in the purple, and that is like contract employees, any kind of contracts we have, like with the SROs, items like that. But as you know, the bulk is always salary and benefits, and that always hovers at 80% or more. The next page is the debt service fund. We have a revenue bond fund here that is through the state. And we also have our COPS. Our COPS is the bulk of our debt. We have 2 outstanding COPS, 2014 and 2015. One of them is due to be paid in 23-24, and then we will only have one going forward. The next page is our capital projects fund. The first column is PICO. All of these funds go out to the charter school. None of those stays with the school district. The second column is what's called CO and DS. This is a pot of money that the state gives to school districts every year. Ours tends to be the same, about $450,000. You can see we estimated for $460 for 23-24. This is goes to the plant services department for upkeep on our school or on our schools. The third column is capital improvement fund. This is our $1.5 million part of the property taxes. As you can see, we're estimating to get $24 million in this year, and our expected cost is $17 million. That also includes transfers out of $11 million, as you can see under that. We're expecting to end with a fund balance of $15.6 million. This fund balance is pretty high as we were very conservative coming out of the pandemic, so that has actually helped us out quite a bit. And our last column is the other capital projects fund. This is the half-penny sales tax and the local impact fees. You can see $18 million there. About $9 million is for the sales tax, and about $9 million is for the impact fees. And then the actual cost down there, we're planning to spend $29 million. The bulk of that is the expansion at Matanzas High School. The next page is our uses of our property taxes. The top portion is right off of the 5-year plan that was presented to the board at a prior board meeting. And the bottom section is all of the other items that we pay out of capital. You can see the school buses, all of our transfers to the general fund, and furniture, fixtures, and equipment, as well as debt service payments. And the cost for our portables and insurance premiums. And new this year is from legislation is we can now use the 1.5 mil to pay for the cost of salary and benefits for our bus drivers, which has helped out our general fund tremendously going forward. The next page is the permanent fund. This is a scholarship that we've had for many, many years. The only thing paid out of here once a year is one $500 scholarship. On the next page, our self-insurance fund. This is for our health insurance. We are a self-insured school district, so the $14 million that you see in revenues is the premiums that we will get from the health insurance for everyone who is on our program, and the estimated cost, our normal cost of running the program to pay for our consultant, but the bulk of that is the actual health insurance claims. Our ending fund balance is estimated to be a little over $7 million, which is very healthy for a self-insurance program. On the next page is a chart of student enrollment starting in 2007-8 all the way to 23-24. You can see that we are ticking up. I will also note that in the current year and the prior 2 years, that number now includes the scholarships. The scholarships this year total about, just drawing a blank. I forget. I'll get that back to you. I know it's been mentioned plenty of times before. But so the enrollment has jumped up, but as well as us increasing students here in our brick and mortar buildings, the scholarship has jumped that up quite a bit. I want to say it's close to 800 students that are on the scholarship. The next page is just a chart of our property taxes. The first column shows what our total taxable value is. As you can see, it did go up quite a bit to $16 billion, $16.7 billion. And then, as you can see on the third column, this is our actual millage rate, 3.902, that is set by the 30903, sorry, that is set by the state. We do not have any control over that. As you know, we're the only taxing authority without control to set our own millage. As a result, we do not benefit from our tax value going up as much as other, as much as cities and counties would, because they can set their own millage. And on the next page is a summary of our millage rates. What we just like to point out, our millage rate is the lowest since it peaked in 95, 96. Once again, I just want to clarify that we do not set this, the state sets it. So what that means is it is great for taxpayers. Their taxes for the school district does go down because our millage is lower. However, as I've mentioned before, the school district does not benefit. Even though our property taxes go up, we don't benefit as much. Any questions on this presentation? Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'm going to recess to the public meeting. And now we're going to look at 3.02, the resolution 232403, for the final millage rate to be read by myself. Here we go. Florida Department of Education resolution determining revenues and millages levied. Resolution of the District School Board of Flagler County, Florida, determining the amount of revenues to be produced and the millage to be levied for the general fund, for the district's local capital improvement fund, and for the district's debt service funds for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024. Whereas Section 1011.04 Florida statute requires that upon receipt of the certificate of the property appraisers giving the assessed valuation of the county and of each of the special tax school districts, the school board shall determine by resolution the amounts necessary to be raised for current operating purposes and for debt service funds, and for the millage to be levied for each such fund, including the voted millage. And whereas Statute 1011.71 of Florida statute provides for the amounts necessary to be raised for local capital improvements outlay and the millage to be levied. And whereas the certificate of the property appraiser has been received, therefore, be it resolved by the District School Board that the amounts necessary to be raised as shown by the officially adopted budget and the millage necessary to be levied for each school fund of the district for the fiscal year are as follows. 1. District school tax, non-voted levy. Certified taxable value, description levy, amount raised, and the millage levy. The certified taxable value is $16,745,976,490. Required local effort, and the amount to be raised is $50,720,214. The millage levy is 3.1550 mils. Total required millage is $50,720,214, and the mills, again, are 3.1550. District school tax discretionary millage, a non-voted levy. Certified taxable value is $16,745,976,490. Discretionary operating is $12,024,951. And the millage levy is .7480 mils. District school tax additional millage, and there is nothing listed there. District local capital improvements, non-voted levy, certified taxable value, $16,745,976,490. The amount to be levied is $24,114,207. And the millage levy is 1.5000 mils. Going to 6. The total millage rate to be levied is less than the rolled back rate computed pursuant to statute 200.065, parentheses 1, Florida statute by 3.22%. State of Florida, County of Flagler. I, LaShaka Moore, Superintendent of Schools and ex officio Secretary of the District School Board of Flagler County, Florida, do hereby certify that the above is true, and complete copy of the resolution passed and adopted by the District School Board of Flagler County, Florida on September 5th, 2023, and that will have the signature of the superintendent and today's date. Note, copies of this resolution shall be submitted to the Florida Department of Education at OFFRS, and that's capital, small case, lowercase, UBMISSIONS at fldoe.org, or the Florida Department of Education School Business Services Office of funding and financial reporting, 325 West Gain Street, room 814, Tallahassee, Florida, 32399-0400, county tax collector and the county property appraiser. Okay. I now will read the resolution number 2324-04. A resolution of Flagler County School Board adopting the final budget for fiscal year 23-24. Whereas the School Board of Flagler County, Florida did pursuant to Chapter 200 and 1011 Florida statutes approve final millage rates and final budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. And whereas the Flagler County School Board set forth the appropriations and revenue estimate for the budget for fiscal year 2023 and 2024, and whereas at the public hearing and in full compliance with Chapter 200 Florida statutes, the Flagler County School Board adopted the final millage rates and the budget in the amount of $324,948,643 for the fiscal year of 2023 to 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the attached budget of the Flagler County School Board, including the millage rates as set forth therein, is hereby adopted by the School Board of Flagler County, and a final budget for the categories indicated for the fiscal year of July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, and that'll be signed by Cheryl Massaro, chairperson. There is no 304? Okay, eliminate item 304 if you have an agenda because it is not there. All right. We are now going to open the floor for public comment. Public comment. Is there any public comment concerning the millage rate?
There is no public comment.
All right, I am closing at this time the public hearing. And now we're at 6:01. I'm going to reconvene the public session. Board action items. 7:01. Request board approval for resolution of 2324-03 to adopt the 23-24 final millage rate. I need a motion. Move approval. I need a second.
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. I have a motion by Dr. Conklin and a second by Ms. Chung. All those in favor say aye.
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 It passes unanimously. 7.02, action. Request board approval for Resolution 2324-04 to adopt the 2023-24 final budget. I need a motion.
Move approval?
I have a motion. I need a second.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Furry and a second by Ms. Hunt. Is there any conversation? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of 7.02 say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, it passes unanimously. 7:03, request board approval for the categorical. Okay. We're not doing 7:03. 7:04, that was a placeholder. We don't need to do that?
No, you do.
We do. Placeholder, 2023-24 Strings Program Contracts Presenter, Mr. Reeves.
Thank you, Chair Massaro, board members, Interim Superintendent Moore. Before you today is action taking to request the approval of the FYO contracts. I'm asking that the 3 that were approved in June be pulled, and these are being replaced with the 3 joining the other 4 members that are joining the team. That's so that they all align and have the same look as far as expectations and documentation, so they're all in alignment together. The documents are before you, and the board, as far as the request to approve those service contracts.
Move approval.
Okay, I have a motion from Dr. Conklin. I need a second.
Second.
And a second from Mr. Ferry. All right, so we have a motion to approve. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, then, I am going to adjourn
No.
the,
No.
No, you have
7:04, selection of new
okay.
superintendent.
I missed that one. Okay, 7:04, we just did. So we're at 7:05.
No, we're at 7:04.
You are at 7:04. There was no 7:03. The agenda had been updated and changed. Those apparently were printed when there was a belief that there was going to require a
I'm
flexible
not crazy,
spending.
people. I'm reading what I'm seeing here. Obviously, I'm not seeing the right thing. Okay, all right, so we're going to 7:04 now? The strings program,
No,
we just did that.
7:04
Done
is the
7:03, which was
election
the
of new
strings
superintendent.
Okay. So
7:04 is
okay.
the selection.
7:04, placeholder for, it's the selection of the new superintendent.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to appoint LaShaka Moore as the Flagler County Superintendent.
All right, I have a first, I need a second.
Second.
I have a second. Mr. Ferry, is there any conversation? We've all had enough at this point. I'll call the question. All those in favor of appointing LaShaka Moore as the new superintendent of schools of Flagler Schools, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we have the new superintendent. Congratulations, Superintendent Moore. We now have public comment. We have public comment. Anybody wish to speak publicly tonight? Yes, please come right up, sir.
First, as far as the vote, thank you. The whole community thanks you. That was a great, great decision, and we welcome Ms. Moore as our new superintendent, so thanks for that. Also, and this is not for Pierre Tristan's benefit, I hope he's not listening, but in listening to the discussion at this afternoon's audit report, one thing I came out of that audit report thinking was that I think we should really thank Cheryl Tristan, because for 18 years, or whatever the number was, she ran that thing, and she ran it pretty well without much guidance at all. There would not have been a program without her, and if all those years she was running on energy, she didn't do anything wrong. Everything was good. The audit was good. What, a mistake of $3.83 somewhere? Nobody's going to jail for that. So she did a pretty damn good job without the exact guidance that she should have had, and she did a pretty darn good job on her own in creating enough guidance for herself and for everybody else that she directed, so that mistakes were darn few, and accuracy was as close as you want to get for a program like that, full of mostly volunteers and people who were not trained in the ways of financial accounting. So I still think this county and this board owe her a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Anyone else? Please. Just identify yourself.
Cynthia Dodzik, Serge Flagler. Thank you, Board, and congratulations, Superintendent Moore. Serge Flagler is thrilled to have you on board, and we very much look forward to working with you and the entire board over your term of office to create a healthier Flagler district for our children. Thank you.
Anyone else like to make a conversation here? All right, seeing none, we were unable to complete our business upstairs, so we're going to resume that at this particular time. 2 items were tabled to the next meeting, so we're going to start with old business. Old business, I believe, Ms. Chung, you had old business.
Yes. I would like a copy of our attorney's contract sent to all of us for review. And if everyone's in agreement, I'd kind of like to have that discussion at the next 6 PM meeting to go over it.
Do we have a consensus?
I'll add my name to that. I would like at the next business meeting, September 19th, for that to be placed on the agenda. So I will add my name to that for consensus.
Well, we have 3 people, so we have a consensus, so we will add that to the agenda.
Can you just, for clarification, can we just clarify what we are discussing? I just want to make sure it's crystal clear. It's going to be on the business meeting agenda, September 9th,
At 1
discussing
o'clock.
the,
Yeah, at 1 o'clock. We have 2 meetings on the 19th. I mean, yeah.
we have a business meeting. Okay, I just wanted to clarify, that we have consensus to have that on the 6 PM agenda meeting.
We want it not at 1 o'clock, but at 6 PM?
We could do both, but I would like it to be on the 6 PM.
I'm fine with both, but I definitely want it to be on the 6 PM.
I don't,
So are you looking to take action?
Yes.
I'm looking to possibly, I can't speak for Christy, but I would like to have discussion as
I'd
a
at least
board.
like to review it. As a new board, we have not, so.
then I would put it at the 1 o'clock meeting if we're just reviewing the contract. If you're looking to take action, that would then go to the 6 PM. So we
Yeah,
want to
and-
put it on both?
Yeah, Chair Massar, I would like it on both, just for full transparency for the community. There have been actions that have me questioning my trust and confidence in the board attorney. And so for full transparency, I actually would appreciate it being on both agendas, but certainly at the 6 PM, should collectively as a board, there is a majority to take any action on that action item.
Okay, so we'll put it at 1 o'clock for an information and then add it to the 6 PM. Do I have a consensus for that?
Sure, yes.
All right, we have a consensus for that. Are we, have that? Yep, okay. Okay, old business. Any other old business? New business. Ms. Hunt, I believe you had new business.
I have 2 things. The first one, and it's maybe just an ask for my fellow board members. When we discussed the salary range for the superintendent, there was a lot of back and forth, and I've reviewed the video from the workshop, and where we landed on consensus was, because I think we're at a high of 215, and in watching the video, we landed at a high, the top range of 200. And it was then at the next meeting that it had come down to 195. And I did question that, and I was told, no, the decision was 195. And again, in reviewing the video, the consensus was at 200. My ask is this, and this was an idea given to me by someone within FSBA who I value their guidance a lot. And that is, in our workshops, perhaps even in our business meetings, when we have consensus, is there somebody in the room who can create a list of consensus that we could potentially have a readout at the end of the meeting? I just, in the spirit of, Superintendent Moore earlier today spoke to stabilizing the district, stabilizing things. That is just one example that I wanted to use of if it's possible to add that cadence to our meetings of just maybe a quick summary of items. I can also think of, we've brought up alternative ed multiple times. If there's a readout to say, here's where we have consensus, maybe we even add on to that to say we have consensus for these items and maybe even go to the calendar of when those are going to be discussed. This isn't something, Chair Massaro, we need to discuss in full tonight. I just wanted to throw that out there, perhaps to discuss at a future time.
Okay. I have written that down, and we can perhaps add that to the 1 o'clock meeting on the 19th as a conversation piece.
that'd be great.
Would that work? Do we have a consensus that everybody's interested in that? I need 3 of us to be interested. We are.
Okay, that's
So we're
great.
good.
And then
Okay.
just one other thing. Again, in the spirit of Flagler Forward stabilizing the district, something that I would also like to see if there's consensus on for adding to, at a very minimum, the next workshop is a discussion that this board has around board behavior, the media. Again, in full transparency, I reached out to some mentors, and what the feedback I was given on how well this board functions is that we have to self-govern. There's nobody from the state who's going to come in and say, you guys aren't playing by the rules, or, your behavior is not healthy for your district. So we really, the five of us, are responsible for self-governing. And so, again, in full transparency, I believe in Flagler Forward. I believe in LaShaka Moore. I believe in the potential of this district. I believe in the potential of this community. I feel a really wonderful decision was made a few minutes ago, and I want Superintendent Moore to be incredibly successful. And I think there is some dysfunction that is happening with this board, and in the spirit of things from top-down impact, I would like this board, and Chair Massaro, where that happens, if that's in a retreat, if that's at a workshop, if that's in a business meeting, here's what I'm gonna say. Enough is enough, okay? The dysfunction amongst board members, what is shared on media, and again, this is a happy night. It is a happy night. I'm so thrilled with the decision of the evening. But I don't think we can move forward as effectively and positive as we could or need to be if we don't once and for all come together as colleagues and talk about our behavior, because we are setting an example for the rest of the district. So I would like to just ask again in the spirit, like consensus, if there are any other board members who would like for us to have a discussion somewhere around things like media and board behavior, chair expectations, and behavior.
I would think that the best place for that conversation would be at a retreat. That's my recollection, because there are a lot of things a lot of us would like to say, and this is not a public meeting, but every one of us have responsibilities. Every one of us should be doing the same amount of responsibilities. And these are things that we need to talk about, because often I feel we have a four-person board, and that concerns me. It does. And I really would like to have these conversations, but it's a conversation we should have at a retreat, not in.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll agree with Sally on that. I mean,
Yeah.
I would like us to build some trust, with the comments that are out there and that sort of thing. Like, I like all of you. Let's
Yeah, right.
We need to build
It's
some
not
trust.
personal.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm all for team building,
Right.
I think in general, this should be a practice that we put in to do regularly. It shouldn't have to come to a moment like this where, at least in certain board members' minds, that it's kind of been pented up, and here we are, right? So communication is key, and our retreats are open to the public. So it's not like this is closed door, but it's just a more collaborative environment that we can have those type of discussions in.
Yeah.
A lot of that will come out now that we have a superintendent in place. I would encourage us to begin master board as soon as possible, because a lot of that will be dealt with in master board as well, as you work through building trust with each other.
I don't see how we can agree to go to master board when, I'm sorry, Chair, that you made comments recently to Flagler Live. So, I mean, it's hard to to build trust when that's happening.
Yeah, and may I just say, again, this is a joyful night. This is a very big conversation and in all fairness, Dr. Conklin, you're not on the receiving end of the of what I am describing. So I want this to remain a joyful night. I don't want to delay this conversation. Chair Massaro, there's so much that I would love to say. For the health and benefit of this district, there's a lot I don't say, and I continue to take it. I would like to have this conversation sooner than later because there are so many lies being shared, and it hurts this district. I think we are not functioning as our best selves across this district because of the top-down dysfunction. So if there's going to be a retreat, I agree. I do not think it is at all appropriate to go into something called master board training, and I get it if there's a lot of benefit to that. But I think that there are some things that need to be discussed very quickly in light of just ongoing things that are being said and done. So I would like to ask, I don't know who, Superintendent Moore, I don't know who can schedule that, but if we're not going to do it at a workshop, if it is the board's preference to do that in more of a retreat, I'm fine with that. But I'm going to say one last thing. It is on the agenda for the next board meeting for us to talk about bullying. We should not, from the top down, from a board, have people who feel bullied. On this board, we are here to set an example for our students. And when there is ongoing bullying that just won't stop, how can we ask kids to not bully when there's bullying on this board? And so I would ask, so that we can move forward effectively and joyfully, that this is a conversation we have soon, because this board needs to be functional.
At this time, I'm going to pass the gavel to Dr. Conklin. Because as chair, I can't speak freely, but now I can. Okay? Recently, I received a number of calls from the press all over the place, and I have to respond to those as professional as I possibly can and not put anybody at harm. The call that the system that Ms. Hunt is speaking about has to do with a statement that I made prior to a press conference on the situation that was held at Bunnell Elementary School. And on my behalf, when I arrived, they were all standing there in a room talking, and it was 5 minutes before the actual event. I was held up in traffic. I got in there, I was handed a script by our school board attorney and told that, read it from the bottom up, which I'm looking at it. But I also believe that was not a situation that needed to be addressed by a script. So I had said I'd read the script, and I did. But I went through exactly what I said. And these are the things that I said. I said, I certainly wish I was not standing here at this moment, at this particular time, under these circumstances. Flagler Schools, they gave me a script, but I'm going to read it, but I'm going to hear a little bit of me at the same time. And that's when I said, the district does not in any way support the activity that took place at Bunnell Elementary School. To the parents and students affected by these actions of Flagler County community, we make no excuses, but extend our apology and all of our apologies. It should not have happened. If we had known about it, it would not have happened. but it became knowledge to us after the fact. So please understand that clearly. And then I read the script that was provided to me. And at the end, I said, Flagler School Board does not support segregation. It hasn't, not this group, not any group for many, many years. So please understand, a horrible, horrific mistake was made. The district will do all that we can to get everyone in the district moving forward. And then I introduced Ms. Moore for hers. As a result, I discovered that Ms. Hunt wanted to censor me at the next meeting because I didn't read the script. And I had other things to say. And I'm sorry, I believe that was a time to address people from the heart, and that as chairperson, that is something we all should do whenever you sit in the seat. You're not a puppet. You have to have and speak well on behalf of this board. Now, you tell me anything within that statement that this board would not have supported.
Who told you that you were going to be censored?
Our attorney, because she has to tell me when people are having any issues with any of the board members. That's her job.
But then I believe that's not what was stated in the article, that she then said that was not the purpose, to censor.
Team, could I
So that,
respectfully interject just for a
Yes.
moment? I agree. I think to move on, we need to have some clarifying conversations and get beyond a lot of this. I would respectfully ask, can we not do this right now?
I had no intention of doing this
Okay.
tonight, okay?
So let's-
And
if it-
Dr. Conklin, apparently Chair Conklin for the moment, what continues to happen is there are things said, because actually a lot of what you just said is factually not true. So
it's completely true by this point.
okay, so now everybody in this room and perhaps the media are going to report on something that is just factually not true. You don't know why I made the comment I just made. There needs to be conversation. There needs to be conversation. I am here, not tonight, please let me clarify, not tonight, okay? For Flagler Forward, for the sake of this district, for the sake of LaShaka Moore's success. We need to have a discussion. Did not want to have it tonight. I'm not gonna say anything to what you just said, because I believe that we shouldn't have that discussion tonight. Today is a joyful night. I'm gonna go out to dinner with my family to celebrate. But under new business, in a business meeting, I wanted to bring up that is something that needs to be discussed.
Okay.
Chair, I have one more thing to say. I will not lie. And when I get asked questions, I always answer them honestly and from the heart. And I don't think the position of chair makes that any different. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Would you like this back? Under new business, one very important item, board, we need to basically direct the chair with the attorney to begin contract negotiations with LaShaka. And so I just want to make sure we get that on the table so that we can continue to move forward. So possibly at the next business meeting, we could actually have her contract on the board agenda.
What is that process?
So-
What are we able to contribute as individual board members?
Well, we
to
can
that?
actually set up a workshop to discuss what we want that contract to look like as a collective body and have conversation about that, which I think is totally appropriate. I mean, do you think that's, I think that's appropriate as an entire board for us to have that conversation.
That would be my preference, certainly.
So sooner rather than later, some sort of a workshop to discuss at least the elements of the contract. And then typically the final salary negotiation, we provide a range to the board chair, and then that basically is worked out privately. I mean, it's all public anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But the conditions of the contract, we can collectively participate in.
Board, traditionally, your Tuesdays you seem to have protected. Is September 12th protected for all of you at some point in time? Not for you, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're out of town.
I'm in town, it's just
But you have
my
a
teacher conference.
obligation, yeah.
I could do it late afternoon or early evening
I can
on
do the-
Tuesday.
I can do the 12th.
I can do the 12th as well.
I'm open the 12th.
I'm out of town.
What about Wednesday?
13th?
I have to work the 15th.
Friday?
I'm not available the 15th. I mean, I honestly have maybe one or two things that I would want to contribute as one board member to the contract. So is there, given schedules, is it possible, is there another way that we
Well,
can?
Could they not submit their recommendations to me
Yeah, we could do that for sure.
in writing, email it, whatever? but
I
in
know,
writing their
like, for
recommendations?
example, when we had conversations, and the first one that comes to mind is when we were talking about Jim Tager's contract, we had talked about building in some student achievement metrics that were tied to bonus pay. So the base salary was a particular salary, but then there were incentives, right? For increases in student achievement, increases in graduation rate, and whatnot. And they were tied to financial incentives. In addition to maybe the base pay was XYZ, but the contribution in another retirement or whatever it might be. So there's bits and pieces. I don't know if we necessarily, if you're comfortable not having a full conversation and just everybody sharing their thoughts and letting, the board chair and the attorney and Superintendent LaShaka Moore work it out.
With all that said, now that you've mentioned those things, I think I would be more comfortable with a conversation. Yeah.
Because it's an opportunity to brainstorm ideas and thoughts with each other as well. And it's also an opportunity to talk about the evaluation tool we want to use. Because it kind of goes hand in hand. And in fairness to LaShaka, I'm sure she would want to know what the evaluation tool is that we'll be utilizing.
So I have a question. I know Ms. Massaro indicated she's not available, but she's the one doing the negotiating. If the four of you are able to do it on that date, and then all of your ideas would be put forth to Ms. Massaro as part of what this board, separate and apart from what Ms. Massaro would want to do, would be a part of it. Just a thought.
Okay. The only thing I would request, colleagues, if the later in the day, the better. I've got my big annual teacher conference, and that's the second day. We're wrapping up in the afternoon.
This would be the 12th?
Yeah.
Is there a deadline, like a certain time we're trying to?
I think that the only reason why is, my understanding was the hope that you all would be able to approve this, her contract on the 19th. That was my understanding.
That was the only reason I was saying the sooner the better.
But if you all are not wanting to rush the actual contract, you've made the decision, if you're willing to have it pushed, you have other meetings. You've got your October meeting, which is a working agenda workshop. We could schedule a special meeting to approve the contract at the October meeting, that, following that 3 o'clock meeting. So there's options available to you. It doesn't have to be on the 19th if you feel that's a little rushed.
I'm fine with whatever.
Well,
Yeah, please don't feel like I'm rushing the process. So whatever is the consensus of the board, I'm fine with.
I think I think the sooner the better. That would be my take on it. I don't think this is going to be a very, complicated discussion. We're going to know what we want. The attorney's going to take it, and it's and at the other side of it's a negotiation with Superintendent Moore. So I would say that if we're all available on the 12th, let's do it then.
Cheryl, would you like a day where you can be there?
It doesn't matter at this point, because I will just take your information. It's still a negotiation with LaShaka, however you look at it.
And if there's anything specific you want to add or for us to discuss, you can provide it for that meeting, whenever it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the one
Or you
thing,
can zoom in.
she could. if she's-
Maybe, depending what time it is.
Yeah.
So what time? I heard the later, the better for the 12th. Are we talking 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock? What is the later, the better for you, Dr. Conklin?
Ideally, 5 o'clock would be better, but I could probably scoot out of there, for whatever, but.
Board?
That's fine.
Anytime is fine for me.
Yeah, just
So 5 o'clock?
5. I might make 5, but I'm traveling.
okay.
Okay.
So there will be a 5 o'clock special workshop to discuss the terms of the
Contract.
contract.
And evaluation, if that's necessary.
And I can provide to you the evaluation tool that was utilized this past time with the superintendent to discuss whether or not that is a tool that you still want to use or whether you want to go in a different direction. And I think, Ms. Hunt, you had indicated you had something potentially from another state that you saw that maybe could be worked into it. I don't recall.
Superintendent evaluation.
Yes,
Am I correct, like Minnesota?
I think it would, yes, the competencies.
Yeah, so what I was getting at is if there's pieces from that that you would like woven into that evaluation.
Bring the-
That's
yeah,
all I was
thank
saying.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other new business? Do we have to do something with the FSBA contract since we now have hired a superintendent?
I will let them know that we have resolved the search. However, I did speak to both Mr. Dr. Vogel and Mr. Reichert following the meeting this morning regarding the facilitation that was done, and they did extend to me their availability. I know that there were discussions about potentially doing some surveys with parents, if they decide to withdraw their child from Flagler schools for a purpose or a reason. He has worked on those surveys and would be happy to provide and facilitate and assist us in ongoing so that we will continue it through. That contract isn't completed until we actually have our evaluations in place. They can also facilitate and assist us with that. That is a part of their contract.
Okay, that's good. Any other new business? Seeing none, closing comments. Ms. Chong.
Is it okay to touch on the Bunnell situation? Because I just feel like it's important that we all add our voices to that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that this situation happened at the beginning of the year. And I know that none of us saw that this was coming. And I know that we all stand by the fact that no child should ever be separated by race and condemn any act to separate our children by race. It's not the message that we ever want to send to our children. Our children should never be led to believe that their destiny or value is based on their race or the color of their skin. But this is the unfortunate result of what happens when we try to go beyond teaching the foundations of education. And I'm going to steal Ms. Moore's quote from a few nights ago at the PTO and say that we are not here to teach children our opinions. It's not what we are here to do. We're here to give an education without indoctrination, whatever that indoctrination may look like. That's a principle that I ran on. And I know that the media puts a lot of information out there, and unless you've been on the other side of it, you don't know that the whole truth is not fully presented. And after the whole world is done commenting, we are still left with a community that needs to heal and move on. The rest of the world does not see the heartache of parents, what the children are going through, and they don't see our staff whose hearts are breaking in all of this. So despite whatever the world is shouting at all of us, we still have to come together as a community to heal and move past this. And I want us all to remember the great start to the beginning of this school year that we've had. We've even had agreement as a school board. We need to come back together and not let the situation divide us. I know that there are people in this community that would like that, but I know that that is not what Flagler County is. And I know that we can do better and keep moving forward. And I'm really excited on the outcome of tonight. Thank you.
So yes, what happened at Bunnell Elementary, just heartbreaking for the children that were involved in that situation. And, it's a very difficult thing to navigate. And I do want to commend Superintendent Moore on leading the charge to help us get to the point we're at right now. There's more to do, but doing this complete with full investigation, and we will know that this has been looked at, and we will learn to make sure nothing like this ever happens again at Flagler schools. And my deepest apologies go out to the parents and to their children for that instance. I just can't think of anything worse that could happen to a child to be singled out like that, other than any physical type of abuse. But it was just the psychological impact of these things. I just pray is non-existent or very short. And I just want the families to know that as a school, we want to do everything we can to support your kids, whatever they need to get through this situation. And today I just am with great joy to have voted in Superintendent Moore as the full-time superintendent. It's been really a delight to watch your interim leadership, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do with Flagler Schools as we move Flagler forward. Thank you.
I certainly have had a lot of thoughts on the Bunnell Elementary School Assembly. I have not yet been briefed on the full investigation, so I'm going to withhold my comments. But please know I certainly have had many thoughts on that. I'll just end tonight by several people in the room congratulated LaShaka Moore on being our new superintendent. I would like to congratulate all of us, because I think we're the ones who are winning in having her as our leader. So congratulations, Flagler Schools, for having this tremendous leader now here at the district office. LaShaka, I know you are going to be exactly what we need. And I'll, for the benefit of the public, I'll share something that I shared at the workshop. Or at the morning meeting, it's a bit of a blur. I had a very intense interview with LaShaka. And I want the community to know that I did my due diligence in making this decision in the same way that I did with the vote on the renewal of our previous superintendent. And I am thrilled that this is the outcome, at least for my one vote. So again, congratulations to you, certainly. This is a big, for your own career, but congratulations to us, ultimately, because this is tremendous. So thank you.
I'll associate myself with all of those comments in regards to the Bunnell situation. There's really nothing anyone can say other than we apologize, because there's just no sense to make of it whatsoever. I'll wait to hear the final results of everything, but in light of tonight's action and moving forward, LaShaka, I just want to say congratulations. I'm thrilled that you are sitting in that seat. I think you are exactly what we need right now. You always say God puts you in the right place at the right time. And I'm grateful that you're sitting in this seat right now. I think that you will be able to bring an energy to our district and help this board focus on what is truly important, and that's student achievement. So congratulations. Look forward to working with you, and just thrilled that this part of the journey is now complete. And we're just beginning, so congratulations.
The one thing that's really wonderful about the majority of children is the word resilient. Children are resilient. They bounce back. Sometimes adults have a much harder time doing that. And I know that Benel's going to get back on track. They're going to be fine, they're going to grow, and they're going to do well. And they'll have this story to tell their children years from now, what happened. And it was awful. But it's not who Flagler Schools is. Ms. Moore now at the helm is going to make certain that we get to where we need to be academically, socially, emotionally, and that's important. That's important in who we are and how we continue to grow. And we will. You know, it's unfortunate that we had to blemish tonight's meeting, but it happened, and it was expected. But I'm not going to sit quietly anymore. I'm going to have my say when I need to, because there's just so many things that need to be said, and we'll take care of that business too, and hopefully we'll get back on track. That's an important thing. But publicly, there's so much that this board still doesn't know, but they don't want to have a master board where you learn it. And that's hard. It's hard when you have seasoned people that know what they're doing and been doing it, and respected people in the past, and you still have, you know, they don't want to like it, but they're still don't want to learn about it. How do you bridge that gap? I expect Ms. Moore will be able to help us, and that's what we'll do. We'll bridge that gap together and grow and improve. But as we stand today, I think we're stronger together, and we are going to move Flagler forward. And I congratulate again Ms. Moore. I think it was the right decision. I always did. That's part of why we've been able to escape going through the whole hiring process of somebody from who doesn't know us. And that's a good thing. We've saved the district a lot of money. That's another good thing. But more importantly, time. We saved the district time because we can keep growing with the interim to the new superintendent. So congratulations, Ms. Moore, and looking forward to working with you.
Good evening. I will reserve my comments on Bunnell Elementary School until we have the final disposition of that investigation. But I will definitely attach myself to many of the comments that were made. Happy 17th day of school. 17th day of school. And yes, I shall continue counting up the days and celebrating each and every day. I'm super excited around the vote for tonight, but I want you to know that I need each and every one of you in this room, each and every one that is listening or watching, as well as those who may not be listening and watching. This is a collective effort in order for our district to be where we know it should be. And it's gonna take a lot of work, and we have a lot of work to do. But I look forward to working alongside our community, our stakeholders, our employees, our staff, this board, to move Flagler forward. Many people have asked about my thoughts around if this will happen. And I said to a couple members of the staff today, not really knowing what the decision would be, but that I would respect whatever decision it is that the board meant. But for me, this is about doing good work because good work needs to be done. And I look forward to doing that work in this position. But I have a quote that I often use, and I'll close with this. is that I'm not looking to be famous, but I am looking to be impactful. And I look forward to all of the great things that we will do as we move Flagler forward. Good night.
On those final notes, I'm going to officially adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you for your attendance.